IRONMAN Bolton 70.3 2025 has officially sold out. That's so exciting. I'm so glad that this race seems to be getting the recognition it deserves. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly, I'm an age group athlete. For those of you that don't know me, I have done IRONMAN Bolton twice now. It is where I started my triathlon venture. I did the full distance back in 2023 and I did IRONMAN Bolton 70.3 last year in 2024. I also grew up in Bolton. I grew up very close to where the course is held for the bike and the run course. I literally used to walk down Chorley New Road to go to school every day. So the race is really special to me. It is my hometown. It does give me the opportunity to have lots of friends and family come and spectate. But above that, I do think it is genuinely a really great race. And clearly so do a lot of other people because it's sold out. So if you have entered the race this year, or if you think about it for future years, keep watching this video because I'm gonna go through everything that I think you need to know for IRONMAN Bolton 70.3. I'm gonna work a little bit of magic. Hold on, let me position myself. And I'm gonna screen record and I'm gonna put it right here so that as I'm looking at my screen and explaining parts of the course, you can see exactly what I'm looking at. I've pulled up the full course map that you can find on the profile of the race on their website. So let's actually talk about bits you need to know pre-race. You'll have already figured this out, but when I was approaching the full distance, I couldn't rack my brain around this. Transition itself is complicated, but putting them in two different places, you're like, but wait, how does my bag get from here to here without me moving it? Don't worry, it happens. So let me just first zoom in to where registration is. Transition is split. T1 is in close to the Bolton town centre, and no, oh god, I always get them mixed up. T1 is at Pennington Flash, swim to bike. T2 is in Bolton town centre, and that is also where you finish the race. So if you've not booked your hotel yet, think about it. You need to decide whether you want to be staying close to the finish line so that you can hobble home easily after, or do you want to be staying close to the swim start so you can have more sleep and not have to get up as early? There is a shuttle bus that runs from somewhere in Bolton that you do have to book, and you can book a spectator's one as well. I have never personally used any shuttle bus that IRONMAN provides, so I cannot comment on the, what's the word? Guarantee? Reliability. I cannot comment on the reliability of those shuttle buses, but plenty of people use them, so I'm sure it's fine. When you come to registration, it's around here. So the finish line here is in front of Town Hall, which is this little grey bit here. And then registration is like somewhere around here. It's normally in the Crompton place. I would recommend probably doing it all in one day, depending on where you're staying, because you've got to travel from A to B. I would just recommend doing registration on the Saturday morning, but going early to do it. If you do, you'll also get to see Iron Kids. Bolton hosts the world's biggest Iron Kids event. It's absolutely phenomenal every single year. There are so many kids that take part, and it's really like a very momentous occasion in Bolton. It's so adorable. So here's the way I did it last year. When I registered, I watched a little bit of Iron Kids, I watched my sister race, and then I went straight to T2, which is over here. So I parked somewhere around here. There is ample parking in Bolton. You're not going to struggle for parking at all. I believe the race guide sends out parking guides beforehand. I have a secret parking space that I can't tell you about, sorry. And then to get from registration to T2, it's a very quick walk. You do not need to drive that distance. So then here, yeah, is T2, where you will leave your bike and your, I'm just kidding, oh my God. Here is T2, where you will leave your red bag. Now, as opposed to other IRONMAN races, you do not get to see this bag again. Whereas in the morning of most IRONMAN races where transition is in the same place, you can visit both bags and put fuel and whatnot in. If you drop this off on Saturday, you don't see it again. You're not going to be able to check it morning off. So you need to make sure that everything is in that bag. Cool. So then what I did on the Saturday, after dropping my stuff off at T2, I went back to my car and I drove down to Pennington Flash, which is all the way down here. Quick tip, parking at Pennington Flash on Saturday can be quite treacherous. The first year I did it, I had no issues. Last year, I couldn't get in and I didn't want to wait. So a little tip for you is to park here. This is an Asda, I want to say. I can't really remember. It's some kind of superstore. And then all you got to do is cross this road. There aren't any traffic lights. It is a little bit sketchy, but I didn't struggle with it. And then you can walk all the way down here to transition. Oh, interesting. Yeah, to transition 1, which is around, I mean, it's just this big field here. And that is where you will leave your bike and your blue bag, which you can visit the morning of. So you do get to revisit your blue bag and of course your bike to do final checks. There are a couple of hotels around here. I think there's like a Premier Inn, something like that. So if you did want to stay near Pennington Flash, that's where you would want to be. Okay. I think that's all there is to say about the day before. So let's take the race like step by step. First of all, you got the swim. The swim. Pennington Flash is a big, weird lake and it's quite disgusting. So if you have an open water spot near you that you don't particularly like going into because it has a lot of geese, swan, duck feces, get in it. Get that stomach used to it because Pennington Flash, yeah, it's not a very pleasant lake. It's also humongous. When I first went there, I felt really, really intimidated. It's a really big lake, which does mean that you only have to do 1 lap to get the 1900 meters in, which is nice. I would recommend, little tip, having a bottle of Coke in your T1 bag. I used a bottle last year, but this year I'm going to put it into a squeezy bottle because Coke does help with any potential stomach issues that you might have. Other than that, the swim is it's a slow swim, I can't lie. The lake is a bit weird because it's got this stream flowing in here and then out this side. It does have a bit of a weird current to it. If it's a windy day, it can be a bit of a treacherous swim. Last year, as you can see, it was absolutely gorgeous, but I still came out in a slower time than I did in Mallorca, which is so weird because I felt like I tried so much harder for this swim. T1, really short run, nice and quick, and the majority of it is grass, which if it's been raining, that's a bit annoying, but I really enjoyed it last year because I just absolutely pelted it because you can get the grip on your cleats and it's, in my opinion, a little bit more enjoyable to run on. There's no aid coming out of the swim for the full distance. They did give out Coke and water, but for the 70.3 they don't give out anything, so something to keep in mind. So then let's move on to the bike course. Right, last year, as some of you might know, or you might not know, I crashed. And this is because this lane here that comes out of Pennington Flash and onto the main road where you then turn right is awful. They do not fill in the potholes. They put out signs saying, you know, potholes, hazard, be careful. I was trying to turn on my bike computer. Sorry, that's my cat. I was trying to turn on my bike computer to get it going and load the route. And at the time I was obviously one-handed on the bike, hit a pothole, just lost control completely and came off. Immediately after me, another woman came off and she was laying in the middle of the road and then a guy flipped over her. So it was just absolute carnage. On that note, I do just want to do a very quick interruption to tell you that this video has been sponsored by Sunday's Insurance. I've been with Sundays for a while now. I was with them when I crashed at this race and they were absolutely fantastic when it came to claiming compensation for the damage that had been done to my bike. If you are looking for bike insurance, then you can use my code Kelly15, which gets you 15% off. Their cover is great, they're super friendly to talk to, and you might also be surprised at the price. I know I was. Okay, so let's talk about the full bike course now, which looks significantly different to what Bolton used to be. IRONMAN Bolton used to be notorious for its bike course because it was really hard. Some years it was harder than Ironman Wales. Cough, cough, the year I did it. It was about 3,000 meters of elevation, meaning that a lot of people were quite scared of Bolton because of the hilly bike course. Now it is completely different. So you start off and you've got this one loop which sort of goes around Pennington Flash, and you do that loop twice. This loop is flat and fast. When I got back on my bike after crashing, I was feeling really upset, not upset, but like my adrenaline was just sky high. I was sort of hysterically crying, just not even computing what had just happened. And my watch gave me a little ding. And in my training, if I've gone 5 miles in under 20 minutes, then I know that I'm doing a pretty good pace. And my watch buzzed me at 5 miles and it said 18 minutes. And that was without me even trying. And I was like, whoa, this is fast. So I put the pedal down on these 2 loops. Then once you have completed your second loop, you will turn left at this junction. Let me zoom in. This junction right here. And you will go all the way up here to Lostock. And this is Chorley New Road. This stretch is a bit of a climb. It goes on and on and on. There are some sections that flatten out, but the whole thing is just a bit of a climb. Nothing too ridiculous, but it is a good, like, I don't know how many miles stretch that is. Like 10-ish mile stretch, maybe less. That is just mostly uphill. So just be aware of that. Once you get onto Chorley New Road, you turn left and then you go all the way down here past Middlebrook, past what used to be the Reebok, and now it's called Tough Sheet Stadium, all the way down to Horwich, down to this point, and you do a U-E up it here, and then you come all the way back. This stretch here is rolling. There are some sections where you look up and you're like, oh God, that's a hill, but then you come right back down it. So get on the hills basically. And then once you reach this point, something else to say about this is some sections do go into single file. So in general, the whole road is closed, I believe. Yeah, the whole road is closed, but there are some sections that go single file because they do keep off some of the road for the residential houses to be able to, leave their house. So that can be a little bit annoying if you get stuck behind someone and you're in single file and it's unsafe to overtake. Just don't overtake them, just hang back, which I know is frustrating, especially when you're trying to get a specific time, but safety comes first. So then you turn left, and this stretch up here goes up to a pub called Bob's Smithy. This is a really great spectator point, because there's a pub right there. I didn't see last year whether they were doing like food or drinks or anything, but it was absolutely rammed up here. And you're nice and slow going up the hill, so it gives your friends and family a really good opportunity to catch you. This stretch is your most notable hill. So this section here, I would say reaches, I don't know, maybe like 12%-ish, especially this first bit here is really quite steep. And then it flattens out, and then it gets a little bit steep again. And then here it really flattens out, and you can really build the speed back up. And then this stretch up to this point is a long slog. It was at this point last year where I realised that I'd knocked my rear derailleur in my crash and I couldn't get into my easiest gear, and I slipped and I had to get off the bike. My chain slipped, I had to get the chain back on and then do a hill start, which was not fun. It was very frustrating. But what goes up must come down. So once you get to the top, you go whoop, and you go all the way back down again. You'll notice on this course a lot of U-turns. So if you are new to cycling, then make sure you practice your U-turns, because you're going to have to do at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Something to note here is you're obviously going down this hill and the speed can pick up really, really quick. Just be aware that once you hit the bottom of this hill, you're doing a sharp left. Now you do this left onto the other side of the road, so it's not quite as sharp as that, but it is still, it's quite sharp, so just be cautious of when you're picking up the speed to be braking nice and early before the corner. So then you turn left back onto Chorley Road and you go all the way down to here, where you turn right. Nothing really of note here. The road surface can be a little bit, they do try and fix it up a couple of weeks before, but it still tends to be a bit, so just be careful. I think there's another section that goes down to single file as well. Oh, there's another good spectator point. I think it's about right here. A pub called The Retreat, which sits on the bike and the run course. So, and is pretty much walking distance to Transition and town. So if your family park in town, this is a nice little walk to get to the retreat, and yeah, they can sit and wait for you and see you for 2 seconds on the bike, but then see you for a little bit longer on the run. So yes, you turn right and you cycle down. You cycle past Transition once, get to the end of the road, turn left, come back up, and then you do this road again. So once you go past Transition, you get back onto Chorley Road and you start going the opposite direction, where you'll find another left turn. This is a stretch that you only do once. And it's similar to this road, but it's not as hilly, but it is a little bit of a hill. It's a bit of a long slog. But then at the end, you turn around and you come right back down it. And then you turn left. Carry on going. This point here, be aware of this, because I nearly crashed into someone last year who was coming left out of the Pennington Flash stretch. And I'm really sorry if she ever sees this, but I did shout at her. I was like, on your left. No, I was like, on your right. Exactly in that voice. And then you just do the same. You go all the way down to Horwich, turn around, come all the way back. You do that hill a second time, which is nice and spicy the second time around. And then you come back down onto Chorley Road, turn right, and then you're in Transition 2. So, the bike course. I know it can be tempting, especially if you live in the north, to recce the bike course. I would really recommend not doing so. I know of at least 3 people who last year were knocked off doing this route. All of the roads, they are closed on the day, but all of the roads that are used are very residential. They're in very built up areas, and it's just not safe. Especially this one is like a very, very busy A road. So unless you are going to go out at 4 a.m. on a Sunday morning or on a bank holiday, I just don't think it's worth doing. The loop that goes around Pennington Flash, I did once last year and I hated every second of it. And then the stretch that goes up to Chorley Road, that is just full of junctions and traffic lights. And there's one junction in particular, I think it's this one down here, maybe not that one. There's one junction that is a nightmare to get out of, even for cars. They're just queuing back and back and back. So I just don't think it's worth it. The only section of the course that I think would be worth recceing is this hill right here, just so that you know how it feels on the day, because it's the toughest one on the course, but it's really not that bad. So that's the bike course. Let's have a look at your fuel. There are two aid stations. Wow. So there's one aid station on the loop that goes around Pennington Flash just before you turn to either go right or left. So you'll obviously go past that aid station once. And then there's another aid station on Chorley Road, which you will go past twice. You can see on the athlete guide what they tend to give out aid stations, but it's, you know, water, isotonic, bananas, Morton gels and bars. And as always, the aid stations can get a little bit busy in Ironman races. So if you're planning on stopping, I would just stop. Unless you have a very clear route and you can stick out your hand and grab something, just stop. It's gonna take you 20 seconds to stop, fuel up, and then get going again. Okay, let's talk about the bike course. No, not the bike course, we just did that. The run course. So again, T2, very quick, very fast, not a lot of running to be happening there. Oh, I did forget to say, T1, when you come out of the swim and you put your stuff into your blue bag, it's a little bit different to normal Ironman races where they have transition in the same area. You come out of the tent and you sit on the benches that are provided, or you just go on the grass like I did. And then rather than hanging your bag back up, you pass it to the Salvation Army kiddos, who are absolutely brilliant, and they volunteer and they stand there all morning. And then once all the competitors are done with the swim, those bags get loaded onto a truck. At the end of the race, that truck, or like midway through, I don't know, goes over to T2. So when you finish the race, both bags will be there. You do not need to go back to Pennington Flash to get all of your stuff. Anyway, back to T2. Well, not really much to be said. It's fast. And then when you leave T2, you're following this this very groovy red course, which looks really complicated, but on the day it was really very simple. So let's see if I can actually remember and navigate it. I remember you definitely come out left. So you come out left and you run along this road here, and then you turn left here, and then you go right, and then you go right again. Oh my gosh. I actually don't think I can remember. So let me just talk about the bits in town. So the bits in town are mostly flat. There's a little bit of uphill, downhill, some cobbles as well, which is not fun. But there's really not much to be said about this. It's very simple to follow. There was a very nice gentleman in a wheelchair last year who was egging everyone on all day, which was great. You do run past the finish line, so you'll run past it twice, because you run past it once when you leave, again on your second lap, and then you're at the finish line. Once you're done with all that in town, you then come into Queen's Park. The vibes and the atmosphere in Queen's Park, it's not all the way through the park, but there are like some sections which are just absolutely fantastic. You come along this path, it is all paved, there is a bridge that you go over. So yeah, the vibes and the atmosphere in Queen's Park is really great. And it's needed because it is hilly. Not all of it, but there is a section, I think, possibly this stretch here, that is just, I have nightmares about this hill. It is so steep, but there is, that's where the Salvation Army kids station themselves, so that they have a little bit of, they egg you on a little bit. And then once you get up to this section here, I remember here there being a aid station, which is nice. So once you get out of that hilly bit, a lot of people walk up that hill. I walked up that hill last year. It is a tough hill, especially after you've already done the swim and the bike. So there's absolutely no shame in that. And then once you're through Queen's Park, you turn left again onto Jolly New Road, which when you turn left onto it, you think, yes, I'm done with the hills. It's a false flat. You'll find yourself like looking at your watch and being like, why is my pace so bad? That's because this whole entire stretch up to the turning point is just like an ever so slight increase in gradient. So that's just something to be aware of. But then, yeah, at the end, you do a U-E and you turn around and you come right back down, which for me last year, I just absolutely tanned it on the way back down. As soon as I hit that turning point, I put the gas down. I really picked up the speed. Coming back down the hill in Queen's Park is a bit of an ankle breaker, can't lie. But as long as you don't go too ridiculous, you're just so rapid coming back down and getting back down to transition. And then once you get down to transition, you do it all again. So you go back all the way through town, back onto Chorley New Road. So it is 2 loops of this course, which I think is quite nice. I think I would always rather 2 loops rather than 1 loop. 3 at a push. 4 is too many. Looking at you, Ironman Wales. And then yeah, once you've done that, you're onto the finish line. Aid station wise, 9 options for aid stations, and there are kilometres 1.9, 4.4, 5.4, 8.7, 11.3, 13.8, 14.7, 18, 20.7, and they give out precision hydration, water, cola, Coke, Morton gels, Morton bars, bananas, sweet and salty snacks. There are obviously litter zones at all the aid stations as well, where there's some very clear signs saying litter zone begins, litter zone ends. So yeah, that's a lot of aid stations, 9 of them, so you can really break up your run into 9 segments, 9 2-ish kilometre segments where you just think, right, get to the next aid station, refuel, and then carry on. So that is Ironman Bolton 70.3. I don't think there's many more things to say, to be honest. If you can swim in Pennington Flash beforehand, do. If you really want to recce the bike, do it very early on a Sunday morning or a bank holiday Monday. The run is... I would say the parts of the run in town are not worth recceing because it gets really busy around this area and it's just too twisty-turny. But if you want to go and do hill reps in Queen's Park, I will 100% be doing that this year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful to some of you. If you're doing Ironman Bolton 70.3, leave me a comment below. If you are doing it and have done it before and have advice of your own, please leave it in a comment as well. If you're not doing it but you have done it before, leave a comment. Just leave advice. Let's make this a space where people could come to for education and help and advice. I would really appreciate that. As well as I would appreciate a like and a follow. If you fancy, I don't mind. And yeah, I'll see you at Pennington Flash on the 8th of June. See you later.